Jose from Bangalore asks, or Josie, I don't know how that's pronounced now that you're in Bangalore. Probably different than in South America. Jose. Sorry, I don't know. Asks, my collection is now approaching 11 pens. I currently store my pens in their original packaging. I am moving to another country. Are there any recommendations on how I can safely ship them? So I would say keep the original packaging.
Mm-hmm.
You might want to wrap the pens in bubble wrap or something inside the original packaging, and then wrap the original packaging in bubble wrap.
And they should fit in a box.
Put them all in a box and ship it together.
Label it.
Mm-hmm. Get a slightly bigger box and use styrofoam packing peanuts or something like that. I mean, you guys do a ton of shipping. So
yeah, we ship every day. I mean, we definitely use peanuts or we actually use newspaper a lot of times.
Everybody bringing you the article that you...
Oh, I didn't even think of using that. We actually get the end rolls from the local newspaper.
Oh, cool.
And that's what we do for packing material.
Just the blank newsprint?
Yeah.
Cool.
Because when we're remodeling, we were debating like writing all over the paper and covering the windows, like writing, graffiti. But so you can find plenty of different materials at your local businesses and stores and in the trash can. Or
honestly, I think most modern pen boxes are designed in such a way that pens ship, to ship pens, because anymore, the likelihood of you walking into a store is getting less and less. So most modern boxes anyway will have a strap or something that will hold the pen in place and kind of keep it suspended. So I think you'd be okay there. Oh, this will be a good question. I think Lisa will enjoy talking about this one a little bit. This is from Ian in Baker City, Oregon. And I have stayed at hotels in Baker City, Oregon on the way to my parents' house in Utah several times, so I know Baker City. There's a really, really good cafe in Baker City. They have some of the best pancakes. They've got a train that runs all the way around the inside of the cafe. I stop there almost every time on my drive down.
If people only knew how much we talk about food.
So much food. And both of us are in the middle of trying to lose weight right now. So, I'm down about 30 pounds. Lisa's
50.
lost a bunch of weight too. And
And then we're still talking food.
Just well, it's like we can't eat it, so we talk about it all the time now. Really good pancakes. I forget the name of the place, but it's got a train. You probably know what I'm talking about, Ian. What are the advantages and disadvantages to purchasing from an outside the U.S. retailer? I feel as though I've heard mixed messages regarding this issue. On one hand, purchasing through an online vendor such as Amazon or eBay for Japanese pens tends to be warned against. Yet on the other hand, reviewers such as yourself regularly plug European retailers such as Le Coron de Compte in the Netherlands. What makes buying from a European retailer a safer purchase experience than a Japanese retailer through a service such as Amazon? I get that cost is a big motivator for purchasing outside the U.S., but are there other reasons to buy from Le Coron de Compte or others instead of Vanness, Goulet, Anderson's, et al.? So I will talk a little bit about it first, and then I'm going to turn it over to her, because I think we will have slightly differing perspectives. I wonder why. So for me, the reasons to purchase overseas are becoming less and less. Even as early as a year ago or a year and a half ago, individual distributors in different countries had wildly different pricing strategies. Kenro changed that completely with Aurora, and they dropped the prices significantly. ChartPack, the U.S. distributor for Pelican, just did like a 20% discount on all of their stuff to bring their prices more in line with what it is overseas. So if you're looking to buy overseas, really the only reason to do that is it's not available here in the U.S. or the price is way, way better. But, and I've even talked about this with Le Coron de Compte and with, eBay sellers or Amazon, things like that. There are some downsides too. Now, I'm going to preface Lisa's remarks by saying she is a U.S. retailer, clearly has a point of view on this. We all understand and recognize that. So please now go ahead and share your point of view.
Well, I don't buy from Amazon on any aspect. Like, I don't buy anything from Amazon, mainly because I'm a huge believer in keeping the small businesses alive in every aspect of my life, whether it's shoes, whether it's clothing, no matter what it is, whether it's pens or ink. I just am a believer that we need to keep the places alive that are mom and pop across the country. That's not going to happen through Amazon. That being said, there are mom and pop places that sell on eBay. I mean, we used to do that. We don't have time anymore. But my only concern with eBay becomes that some of those sellers may not be authorized. And so you have the problem of returning the products. Of course, eBay has guidelines that they, help you with.
I will tell you, I've been fortunate on the few times that I have ordered from eBay. I haven't had to return, but I have heard horror stories of like going through the process. If you get the wrong thing, if you get something defective, half the time the people you're ordering from don't really speak English, and so you can't send it back. Like you can't order it from a Japanese seller and then send it to a U.S. retailer and have them send it back to.
And we've had that happen to us. We've had people attempt it. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, I've not had negative eBay experiences either. I actually ordered my system through eBay.
ASCAM microphone.
But I always make sure I look at who the retailer is that's doing it. I want to use caution. When it comes to buying a product in the U.S., you're going to get your warranty. If you buy something from a European retailer, you're going to have to ship it back to them if there's a problem. You're going to end up paying fees on that, and then shipping it back. When they ship it back, you're taking more chances on everything, including customs, getting it hung up. I mean, there's just always issues that can arise from using the European retailer. And then sometimes they come into somebody like me, like my husband and I, and they actually want us to take care of it, but they didn't buy it from us. Well, that's not really fair to us. And I hate that for them, but at the same time, I'm like, you can shop in the U.S. You can use a U.S. distributor then to take care of what your needs are.
Yeah. If you think it's the kind of thing where you're going to need to send it back, like if you buy a Visconti on eBay from someone in Czechoslovakia.
Well, first Visconti.
Well, and that's why I use the example, because of their quality control issues. It shows up, it's a problem. You might be stuck, because sending the pen back to Visconti directly can be problematic. Generally, the pens have to come through the distributor. But if you try to send it to the U.S. distributor, they may not be able to send it. They may just send it right back to you and say, hey, this was not bought through us. We're not dealing with it. Or they may charge you extra. Even though I bought a pen from an authorized dealer here in the U.S., I sent it back to Visconti for repair, and it cost me $50. So that is something to be aware of. It's, you'll have to make the value judgment on, is it worth it to have local retailers supported? Is it worth it to save more money? Is it worth it to take the risk with with possible problems? You just have to be aware of that. Now, sometimes the price difference might be enough that risk is worth it. Sometimes it might not be. So
I guess the other thing that comes up is sometimes, and what's the reason that you're getting it? Are you just wanting it right now? Because sometimes we get them later. Mm-hmm. So you'll have some pens that, like Lamy,
we're looking at you.
Yeah. They tell me they're working on it. Mm-hmm. So the what's the newest one? The Racing Green. Mm-hmm. We see it in other countries already, and it hasn't made it here. By the time this comes live, it should be here. But that would be an example. Do I need it right now? Am I having a desperate need where I need this right now, and so I'm going to Europe or to another country? Mm-hmm. Or can I wait and just go ahead and get it here for the same price?
The one thing where I would say it's okay to go ahead and order is if you're looking at doing something from like Nakaya, where you have to order it 8-12 months in advance, and they're going to make it at the factory and ship it to you. You might as well just do that rather than only going with the stock that's available through a local, if you like what's available at nibs.com, great, go ahead and get that. If you want something other than what they have available, you might as well go directly to the factory there. Or something like a limited edition, where the U.S. retailers may only get 2 or 3 of those limited edition, and then they're gone, and you can't get them anymore. If you wanted to check with the U.S. retailer to see if there are any available, great. But in some cases, you may need to go directly to the European retailer, especially for some of those European brands, because they're going to get access to more of them than the U.S. retailers might.
Well, and then the limited editions that are only released in, like several Japanese companies have done Kaweikos, mm-hmm. and you only get it from that store. Mm-hmm. Then I am one of those people who has done that. Mm-hmm. I have the June Bride.
Of course you do. Of course. Fun box. So yeah, hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight, and you can make your decision from there with, just being aware of what the risks and the advantages are. Okay, this next question comes from Marcus in Germany, who says, you mentioned lots of pen shows in the US, which I don't see in Europe. Do you think there are more fountain pen fans and pen users in the US than Europe? So there are shows in Europe. Most of the shows are different. I know there's one in Tilburg, there's one in London, there's one in Madrid. Apparently the one in Madrid is amazing. That's what Stephen Brown told me. There's some other ones. I think there's one in Germany.
There's one in Poland because I know KWZ said they were about to go to one.
Yeah. So it's generally speaking, the European shows are a day, not the 3-4 day marathon that we subject ourselves to here. I actually don't think I think there are probably more fountain pen users in Europe than in
I agree.
the US. I think fountain pens are still probably used in the schools there a little bit more often. There are a lot more retailers in Europe and it's a lot more concentrated. So it's a lot easier to get to a retailer in Europe than it is to get to one here in the US. I think my closest like decent sized retailer is probably in Wisconsin. It's like a 2-day drive for me. We have a retailer here, but it's very, very small and they only carry a couple of brands and there aren't any large retailers.
You can't have Vanness everywhere.
Yeah, well, we could if y'all would start buying more stuff. No. So anyway, yeah. So I think there are actually more European retailers by a pretty substantial, or users by a pretty substantial margin. I also think it's less of a thing there. I think it's just more commonplace, would be my guess. But I don't know that for sure. So
Oh, I don't either. I know that here, I think it's more because it's so isolated, such a niche market. Everybody, it's like they're desperate to get to somebody that they can hang out with that also enjoys the same hobby.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a guess on my part because in Arkansas we have us, so it's a little different.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the other thing I'll just point out is I think Americans are far more consumer focused than Europeans are in general. And so I think Americans tend to look for opportunities to buy a lot more often. We like buying for the sake of buying in many cases. So there's that too. So, I think it could be kind of a combination of
And
both.
I wonder if they have, I'm getting sidetracked, but you know how we have Comic-Con? We have all these various niche kind of events. Maybe that's more a U.S. thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't know.
Well, I know that there are cons all over the place, but I think there are a lot more of them here than in other places.
So in general, maybe we like to get together with our weird habits more than.
Yeah. I've got a good friend of mine. He's on YouTube. His YouTube name is Punished Props. We worked at Microsoft together for years, and he quit his job at Microsoft to become a full-time costume maker, prop and costume maker. So he makes guns and costumes and sells them. He writes books and that kind of stuff. And that's what he and his wife both do it for a living. And I know he's going all over the world. He gets invited to cons to do in Asia, and I think he was in Abu Dhabi recently or something like that. So he gets to travel quite a bit for that kind of thing. So I know it's out there, but we Americans are nuts. What can I say? Quote, we Americans are nuts.
Speak for yourself.
Matt Armstrong. I am. And everyone else. Okay, so Hugh in London asks.
I'm normal. I am normal.
Smile and nod. Just smile and nod. Hugh says, I have 2 completely unrelated questions. What are your current thoughts on Visconti? It seems like you might have gone off them a bit due to quality control issues. I'm going to answer that one before I read the second one. We've talked about it. Rant incoming at some point in the future. Yeah.
We have the same feeling on that.
I'm not buying them anymore. I've had too many bad experiences. It's not worth it to me. And to be fair, I'm not buying pens hardly anymore. Like, I'm just not buying pens anymore. I have the pens I like and I'm fine. So my desire to go after new pens is really low, and the bar for a new pen to come into my collection is very, very high. And anything that requires me to take a risk on, will this even work, is a pen I'm just not willing to deal with anymore. So that's kind of where I am. Then the second question is, do you ever go back and rewatch your old videos, or do you just prefer to always be working towards the next one? I barely watch my new videos. As I'm editing, I barely watch them. as many of you have pointed out, every time I post a video and you find a bunch of errors. So I don't go back and watch my old videos. I'm embarrassed by the old, especially the first season. They are so
But my favorite is the wig.
They're so bad. I have gone back and watched that one a few times. So I did a video.
It's when I knew we had to be friends.
2.5, 3 years ago. It was right after I was getting a lot of crap from YouTube commenters, and so I went back and recorded a video. In fact, you can see the wig right there, Lisa. It's right there in the closet, the emo wig. Getting up to go get it. I did a video where I responded to all the comments in the most snotty, sarcastic way I knew how, but without insulting the people in doing it. And so I think she's getting a little punch drunk. So yeah, here's my emo wig.
Okay, go ahead.
It I don't know if it'll fit. It barely fit on my head because I got a gigantic head. So
Is this the back?
I can't. I was never able to tell. It's a good luck.
Is it? When I saw this, I knew that we had to be friends. It was so awesome.
It works better on me than on you. Let's be honest.
I can't believe it's here. This is so awesome. I get to see the wig in person. Wait, I have to do a selfie. I have to do a selfie. Can we do a selfie?
This is so. Ugh.
Wait. Okay.
Oh, emo wig.
I love this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
I just need some black lipstick and some piercings, and I'm good to go. Okay. Anyway, I don't know how people do that with hair over their face. It just drives me crazy. Anyway.
Is there hair all over my face?
No, I do not go back and watch my old videos very often. I do go back and watch the videos where I'm singing. I don't know why. Usually to harmonize with myself because I'm just a nerd like that. But normally I don't go back and watch my old videos. And to be fair, if I'm going to spend time on videos, I really do need to spend time on the future-looking videos because these take a ton of time to put together, as I have said a lot.
And I'm not helping make it easy.
That's why she's here. Disrupt us. Okay, let's do one last question.
My ADD is kicking in.
Yeah, clearly. This last question comes from Tom in Melbourne, Australia. Can you please, we'll do one more after this. Can you please do a brief review of your Omas Paragon Arco Verde, maybe in a currently inked episode? Unfortunately, I can't. I sold it. I liked it. I'm cutting back my collection, so I sold it to someone. So I don't have it anymore to do a review. Sorry. If you're on Instagram, ask Haplaw, Haplaw, to do a quick instant review of that because she's the one who bought it. Holly, she bought it from me. So hopefully she likes it. Okay, this last question, this will be the last question, is from Jeremy in Maryland, who says, I know you now buy many of your pens at pen shows, but that's not necessarily true for the majority of us. As a fan of Franklin-Christoph, I fairly frequently page stalk the Franklin-Christoph website trying to see if the availability of their stock has been updated. It seemingly never does. I know that's not factually true and is probably unfair to resent a smallish company like FC, but I can't help getting frustrated about researching and getting excited about a certain FC model and then not finding it available for months and months, or wanting it on a limited run model but missing out because it ends after 15 minutes. With so many different pens and companies to choose from, I tend to move on to something else and not come back around to FC for a while. Is this just on me, or do you think Franklin-Christoph should find a way to make their stock availability more predictable and stable?
I can answer this one.
Yeah, I've got some thoughts too. Would this mean cutting down the number of models and finishes, a more custom order-making process a la other independent pen companies like Edison, or would better communication and expected availability dates make this better? Okay, so I'll let you go first.
Well, I just did a 45. So we had 38 made. And the process takes months. He doesn't have an unlimited amount of equipment, and he has quite a long waiting list. Mm-hmm. And so we only did 38. They were gone in 70 minutes. And I mean, we did 38 of them in the 45. They were gone in 72 minutes. I was super shocked. And I think even he gets shocked sometimes at how fast they go. But he doesn't have enough equipment to produce hundreds and hundreds at a time. So he does like 50 at a time. And then he has to do this model, then he has to do the next model and this. So he has only so much equipment and so much staff. And there's a lot of money invested in these CNC machines. Like these are super expensive. So you have to decide if you're going to balance out, like, is it worth spending another $50,000? And then how long is it going to take me to make that money back? Because then you have to have an employee to run that equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So he really doesn't have that many models, I don't feel like. But I do know that you do have to keep an eye and watch. And if you email them or call them, they'll talk to you. Mandy answers the phone. She'll talk to you. She can give you a clue. And some of those, they are actual prototypes that they have just done one or two of to see if it's something that they like, because they're just playing around. It's still a really creative process, and I think that Scott is a super creative person. And
Scott Franklin, by the way.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Scott is just really creative and has all these ideas, and I think the same goes for people like Sean Newton. Even though they only do one at a time, they're just so creative and there's so much in their head that they need to get out. They move on to the next thing, but people are still wanting the last thing. And so you can get his pens. You do have to hurry, and you do have to be there at the right time. But
so I've gone on this mild rant in the past, and I'm going to go on it again because I think there's a really, in a lot of ways, I think the I'm not sure if I would say false, but the scarcity that Franklin-Christoph creates around their pens is kind of smart, because in the fountain pen world, we go nuts for whatever's new right now, and then we forget about it 4 months later. And so a lot of companies have really struggled with this, and I'm not going to name names, but a lot of companies really struggled with this because they have to come up with new products so frequently. I mean, you look at, I'm not going to name names. Never mind. I was going to say, there are companies out there that come up with stuff all the time because they feel like they have to. Because if they don't, sales just go, with anything we release, it's huge drop off. And so a lot of the things that Franklin-Christoph does, I think, are probably pretty deliberately calculated. And I don't mean that in a cold way, but it's that, the way they do pen shows, and I've talked about this, is on Friday at the pen show, they will at 9:00 pull the cover off the table and have prototypes. And once those are gone, they're gone. They're not making any more, or they're not going to make any more until another show. It's always different materials, and people go nuts for it. There's usually a huge crowd for the unveiling every morning, and people swipe in and grab as many as they can and then get in line to buy them. And they go in the first 10 minutes. And then they have a different set on Saturday and a different set on Sunday. So people come back on Saturday, they come back on Sunday, and then whatever's left over at the end, that's what goes up on the website. With things like the antique glass or the Italian ice, where it's very complicated to make those pens.
He used to do those by hand.
You can't just polish them really quickly up on a machine like you can from some of the opaque colors, that sort of thing. So they have to do extra work, and that's why they do the waiting lists. But when you're a small retailer, you're limited. It's almost better to have a backup than to have idle time. And so if they were to double their equipment, they may be able to get more pens out, but they would satisfy people's need really quickly and then be left with idle time on the machines once everyone has that thing that they want. So for people who are modern collectors, and when I say collector, I mean, I'm going to use my pens, but I like acquiring them. Let's call them acquirers. I think it's smart to have these limited editions, because I go to my local pen club, and we've got a couple folks who are like Franklin-Christoph nuts in my area. They have dozens of Franklin-Christophs, and it's not just the one person you're thinking of, it's several people. And they'll trade because, I like that finish, or I like this finish, and I got this prototype, and that sort of thing. So I feel like it's almost a kind of a brilliant marketing strategy to do the limited. Now, to answer your question, yeah, I do think improving the communication on the website is better. Having run a website with inventory, and I know you do this, updating a website for current inventory is a pain in the butt. It basically requires at least one person full time, even for companies as small as Franklin-Christoph, with the models and the colors that they have, to do all the photos and get them up and make sure that it's updated, and then do inventory every couple months to make sure someone didn't grab something off the shelf and sell it without updating the website. It's a lot of work. I only have like 9 products in my website, and I have a hard time keeping it up to date. So, and you got thousands. I don't know how you guys do it.
Me either. That's what I have Chris for.
So yeah, I totally get your frustration, and especially when you're in that immediate justification or immediate satisfaction kind
Yeah,
of.
they gotta have the gratification right now.
Gratification, that was the word I was looking for. Instant gratification. When you got that feel, I totally understand the frustration, but I also understand why they do it the way they do. All right, Lisa.
Yes.
Thank you for joining me for
You're
this marathon
welcome.
question session. Like I said, this will probably
This
be
is a lot of questions.
Yeah, I think we got through 15 or 16 questions. So.
Thank you for letting me come join you.
Oh, of course.
Even if I am a nuisance.
That's why I let you come join me. Otherwise, people would be like, would you shut up and stop talking? And the dog's back. The dog completely doesn't care about me. He just loves Lisa. Luke, up.
Come on. Up. Can you get up? He can't get, I don't think. Come on.
Anyway.
Come on. I know.
All right.
Oh, look, he's up.
Oh.
Can we see him?
Hi, Luke.
Hey.
Hi, Luke.
Oh, yeah. Look at the camera. Can you look at the camera? No.
Yeah, and what has happened is the whole time Lisa's been over here recording, Luke goes to her, gets pet, and then looks at me like, are you jealous? Are you jealous? So, okay, hop down. Good boy. All right, well, while Lisa's playing with the dog, thank you for joining us. We'll see you here next time on The Pen Habit.
Bye.
Bye. Yes, I am.
Hey, look at what I got. Hey.
Hello.
I let him in. I let you in.
Can you lay down?
I don't know. Okay. Yes. No, he's not gonna lay down because I'm petting him. Okay, let's do our thing.
Luke, lay down.
Sweet boy.
Lay down. Luke, go lay down. Go on, get out. Lay down.
Come here. This way. This way. Can you lay right here? Lay down. Lay down. There you go. I knew I was a dog person. Look at that. Look at that sweet puppy. Are we recording?
Of course we're recording.
But look, he's so cute. Oh, sweet Luke. Yeah.
Go lay down.
I don't think there are.
Lay down.
I'm not going to invite him back in even though I want to. He's just so cute.
I know.
Aww.
Luke, lay down.
Okay, I'm not going to look.
Lay down. Lay down.
Sweet boy.
Good boy. Good boy. We'll play with you in a little bit.